This episode of the Joshua Cock Show unfortunately has a much more somber tone than usual. My mood today matches the weather. I am absolutely devastated. I've just had to take legal action against somebody I considered a friend. And if through this episode I can just help one person not need to go through this, then I'm happy. Because I don't wish this on anyone. It's actually the third time that this has happened to me over the last 6 years, where a client becomes a bad debtor, a terrible debtor, and the debts accumulate over months, and it becomes an absolute nightmare to get paid. And interestingly, I've noticed that in each of these occasions, it follows the exact same pattern. And the signs are there. And I've learned from this, and I'm certain this will not happen to me again. I will not let this happen to me again. And through this episode, I'm going to share with you the pattern and the signs of a bad debtor to come. And I'm also going to give you some tips to help you not get into a similar situation as this. And now I'm going to unpack for you the 4 signs and the 4 pieces of this pattern of a bad debtor to come, which I have actually labeled the 4 P's. Number 1, problems. There are absolutely none of them at the start of a relationship of this kind. So your proposal is well received, everyone's very excited and pumped, and the contract gets signed, the invoice is paid pretty much instantly, and we're off to a fantastic start. And you're like, wow, this is an amazing client I've just landed. I'm so excited to be in business with them. Unfortunately, this is one of the signs of a bad debtor which should be looked out for. Number 2, pressure. These types of contracts come with a certain amount of pressure where it's very important and everything must be done very well. This is why we chose you, and we have a lot of trust. And there's often a sense of urgency attached and magnitude, pressure. This is a large project we need just to get done. Put some pressure on that, get the timelines a bit tighter, and let's start working straight away. So there's an urgency to get going instantly. The third one, which may come as a surprise, is praise. So in all of the cases where I've seen, where I've eventually ended up with a bad debtor, there was a high degree of praise from the client, where they're saying wow, you guys are the best, or thank you so much, or we're so excited to be working with Growth Gurus. This often comes in a public manner as well, so there'll be introductions to people in their network, referrals, social media posts, and a lot of compliments and praise about you and your team. And lastly, number 4, promise. There's a promise of more work to come. This is just the start. We have so much more to go through on this journey. And that 4th component, promise, is one that obviously excites you as a client. You think you're building a relationship, and they tend to be very friendly. So you almost develop a friendship with a lot of further promise of more business to come. At some point then in this relationship, something changes. There's a change of pace, communication slows down. You become all of a sudden referred to someone else in the team, be it a finance executive, an accountant. They start to step back and be less involved. And then the excuses. Oh my God, the excuses, they kick in. I think I've heard them all. It's almost as bad as my dog at my homework. Payment has been made. We're waiting for approval from the CFO. We're just collecting funds from someone who owes us a lot of money. Or, yes, this is coming in the next payment run. We've sent the check. It's a joke how many excuses kick in. And then you start to realize, okay, more and more debt is accumulating. You're holding on to this fantastic relationship that's proving to be more of a burden and a stress than it's worth it. And honestly, guys, take it from me, it's better to not have the client at all than to have a bad debting client, which ends up causing me so much stress and burden. It's like demoralizing, it's honestly soul crushing, and it makes me so upset and frustrated to put my all into something and to end up being so disrespected like this, and it's a horrible feeling. So look out for those signs. So now I'm going to share with you what I've done and the steps I've taken to stop myself from getting into this position again. So number one, we qualify our clients. So we have now a qualification process where we don't just work with anyone. We're very selective with who we work with, and we go through a few rounds of qualification to make sure that they're the right fit and that they can trust us and we can trust them. Number two, closely monitor your accounts. Now we've hired someone who's like full-time responsible as our finance manager, looking at the numbers and holding us accountable to that, and also having good communication with clients around the billing process. Number three, if you're in anything like us, we work on website projects, branding projects. So we do the work against the deposit, and then we deliver the full product once we receive full payment. We've been a bit too relaxed with that policy. So sometimes we would actually launch the website and then collect the payment. Don't do that. Stick to your processes, take your policies seriously, and that's the only way that they'll get taken seriously by your clients. So first finish the project and then get paid. And lastly, my last tip is take quick action. If you see something steering off track, be very quick to act on it and communicate around it, and try and sort it out as soon as possible, so that at least if there is going to be a problem, you've limited your damage and you've really nipped it in the bud. The longer this goes on, the worse it gets. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Joshua Cox Show. Apologies again about the tone. It's just, this is what I'm going through right now, and this is what I felt to share with you guys. We'll be back with more vibes next week. Thank you so much. See you soon.